If we can have everyone's attention, please. Good afternoon. If we can have everybody take a seat, please. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. We're calling the meeting to order. I note that some of the participants are participating via video conference. Today's public meetings are also being live streamed from the Port Authority website. We'll now hold today's public meeting starting with the Committee on Finance, which will be chaired by Commissioner LaBarbera. That'll be followed by a Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, which I will chair, and will conclude the public portion of today's meeting with a public board meeting. So first order of business, Commissioner LaBarbera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's meeting of the Committee on Finance is being held in public session in its entirety. At this point, I ask the Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the Committee on Finance and any commissioner recusals on the matter before the committee at today's meeting.
Thank you. Committee on Finance is composed of Commissioner LaBarbera, the committee chair, Commissioner McCabe, the committee vice chair, Commissioners Fine, Kelly, and Richardson. All committee members are present. In addition to the committee members, also present are Chairman O'Toole, Commissioners Bulwage, Fisher, and Helmy, and we expect Commissioner Dominguez to be joining shortly.
Oh,
there are no
thank you.
recusals required.
Thank you. I call on our Chief Financial Officer, Libby McCarthy, to present financial performance results for the first 9 months of 2025. Libby?
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm happy to summarize our results for the quarter. I'm just going to open with my usual reminder that this unaudited condensed financial information for the 9 months ended September 30th is best understood when read in conjunction with the financial statements of the Port Authority and the accompanying notes thereto, which are published on the Port Authority's website. In addition, I also want to note that these results that I'll be reporting were prepared in accordance with our bond resolution, which is the basis of reporting that we use to set our budget, and is also included in the unaudited condensed financial statements prepared on the basis of generally accepted accounting principles, both of which will be published on our website later today. Overall, the Port Authority achieved very strong financial performance during the first 9 months of the year. Net operating revenues totaled approximately $2.2 billion during the first 9 months of 2025, which was $178 million, or 9% higher year over year, primarily due to higher revenues at our facilities, which I'll discuss more fully later. When compared to budget, net operating revenues for the 9-month period was $31 million, or 1% higher than budget. First, I'll start with an overview of our year-to-date activity at our various facilities. To orient you on this slide, the green line corresponds to activity during the current 2025 9-month period, and the yellow line represents the same period in 2024. The slide on the left shows aviation passenger activity, and the slide on the right is tunnels and bridges activity. First to aviation, despite some of the more recent challenges, particularly at Newark Airport, the Port Authority's airports continue to experience strong activity near the record-setting volumes that we experienced in 2024. More than 107 million passengers traveled through our 3 major airports during the first 9 months of the year. Total passenger volume was approximately 2% lower than 2024 for the period, and 5% lower than planned, which was mostly attributed to the flight reductions mandated by the FAA as a result of its ongoing staffing challenges and technology issues at Newark Airport, as well as the impact of the leap year, adding 1 additional travel day to February of 2024. I will note, however, that activity at the airports in August set new records, as shown in the circle on the chart attached. Moving on to our bridges and tunnels, a total of 91 million vehicles utilized our crossings during the first 9 months of the year, which is less than 1% below 2024 levels, and was approximately 1% lower than planned. The year-over-year decline in traffic is attributable as well to the combination of the leap year in 2024, which added the additional day of travel, as well as more severe and frequent winter storms during the first quarter of this year. Any potential impacts of the implementation of congestion pricing for those traveling into the Central Business District in New York City remains under review at this time. On this next slide, we show port activity on the left and path activity on the right. Our ports continue to be amongst the busiest container ports in the nation. Volume for the first 9 months of the year finished 3% higher than the same period in 2024, and is also 6% higher than budget, which we attribute to the inventory front-loading, given concerns over higher tariffs. Lastly, path ridership for the first 9 months was 7% higher than the same period in 2024, with more than 45 million trips during the period. Note that the dip in ridership during February of 2025 was primarily due to the 2024 leap year, as well as the closure of the Hoboken station during the month-long construction improvement program. Path ridership for the first 9 months of 25 is currently 3% higher than budget. This slide shows the breakdown of our gross operating revenues for the first 9 months as compared to the same period in 2024 and also as compared to the 25 budget. Gross operating revenues for the 9-month period totaled more than $5.5 billion, an increase of $279 million or 5% year over year. The strong year-over-year performance is primarily driven by higher aviation cost recovery revenues, higher aviation and marine port rental revenues, higher tolls at our bridges and tunnel crossings, which includes the CPI adjustment and board-approved changes that went into effect in January and July of this year, and higher path revenues from the CPI increase in path fares that went into effect in early January of this year, as well as that higher path ridership level I spoke of a moment ago. As compared to the 25 budget, gross operating revenues for the 9-month period were $162 million or 3% higher than planned, primarily due to higher rental revenues at our airports and marine ports. Moving to operating expenses, for the first 9 months, they totaled $3.3 billion and were $101 million or 3% higher than the same period in 24. Primarily driven by higher employee and retiree health care costs, higher utility costs, and higher rent payments to the cities of New York and Newark, given the higher revenues at our airport. As compared to budget, operating expenses were $131 million or 4% higher than planned for the period, largely as a result of that higher health care cost I spoke of. Then moving to our cash flow and liquidity positions. Cash from operations for the first 9 months of 25 was $2.4 billion, which is flat as compared to the same period in 24. Cash and investments as of September 30th totaled $7.7 billion, but I will note that included in that amount is $1.2 billion of bond proceeds, which we invested, which were later were used in October to refund existing bonds to achieve debt service savings. So in addition to our cash and investments, as of September 30th, the Port Authority had approximately $500 million of capacity to support its capital construction program, consisting of its capital funds on hand as well as available bank revolver capacity. When excluding the General Reserve Fund and those capital funds, as well as the money we were using in October to refund the existing bonds, cash and investments as of September 30th represented 340 days of cash on hand. Finally, looking at our debt obligations as of September 30th, they totaled $29.3 billion. This balance, as I said, includes the $1.2 billion of consolidated bonds that were issued in August for the purpose of refunding existing bonds for debt service savings. Those bonds were refunded in October. This concludes my remarks, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Libby. Do any commissioners have comments or questions regarding this report? Hearing none, this concludes today's meeting on the Committee on Finance. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner LaBarber. Today's meeting on the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is being held in public in its entirety. At this point, we ask the Board Secretary to advise of the present composition and any commissioner recusals. Jim?
Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is composed of Vice Chairman Linford, the committee chair, Chairman O'Toole, the committee vice chair, Commissioners Dominguez, Helmy, and LaBarbera. All committee members are present with the exception of Vice Chairman Linford. In addition, also present are Commissioners Bolwage, Fine, Fisher, Kelly, McCabe, and Richardson. There are no recusals required.
Thank you, Corporate Secretary. Now call upon our Chief Development Officer, Derek Utter, to present the capital performance results from the first 9 months of 2025. Derek?
Thank you, Chairman. So I want to just quickly update you on how we've been doing for the for the first 9 months of the year. Our spending was $2.3 billion. That's up from the first 9 months of 2024. I'll show you some historical context for that in a moment. Overall, we spent 93% of our budget. We aspire to get as close as possible to spending the budget that we allocate, and then we hit 91% of our planned schedule milestones on or ahead of target. Just some historical context, you'll see the solid bar is the first 9 months, that's the dark blue. The light blue is the balance of the year. So you'll see that pre-COVID, 2019 was the highest year of spending, and this year we are approaching that. So this is the highest year of spending since COVID for the first 9 months. We expect next year we actually may be exceeding that. In terms of on-time results, we have about 100 milestones every year. To date, the first 9 months, we had 76 milestones, of which we hit 69 of those, for a 91% performance. We try to achieve at least 90% of performance. We've not always been able to do so. You'll see the last couple of years we've been a little below that. And so there are a number of reasons for that, but every time we miss a milestone, we look very closely at try to learn from those mistakes and spread that knowledge across the organization. In terms of projects that we actually delivered, so the contract awards, the first of our milestones, we awarded a contract for the first stage of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Program, and as you know, started construction on that. We awarded a contract for the maintenance and control facility for the Newark AirTrain. We also broke ground on the overall project earlier this quarter during the summer. On the right, you'll see a number of the projects that we put into beneficial use. That means construction's been completed, and it's now part of our asset base. Besides those 2 milestone dates, there are some other groundbreakings and openings that we just wanted to highlight here on the chart. Some of these are Port Authority-owned projects, like the groundbreaking of the Newark AirTrain and the truck charging stations, which we opened. Some of these are partner projects, meaning that we hired somebody who is running this as a business. In the first instance, the truck plaza groundbreaking is going to be a concession run by a third party at JFK Airport. So I'll conclude there if there are any questions.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Derek. Much appreciated. That was more informational. There's no vote required. This concludes today's meeting on the Capital Planning, Execution, Asset Management. We're now going to roll into our public board meeting. This board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. On October 15th, the Committees on Finance and Operations met jointly in executive. Earlier today, the Committees on Finance and the Committees on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public, and the Committees on Operations met in executive session. The reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meetings. The Commissioners also met in executive earlier today to discuss matters related to security or public safety, matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof, of the public interest, matters related to personnel procedures, and matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals, and to discuss and act upon matters related to the proposed, pending, or current litigation or judicial or administrative proceedings. All right, our first order of business today, we are here to recognize a very special individual, a Port Authority police officer who was faced with a very, very difficult and violent circumstance, didn't hesitate to jump in and turn a very dangerous situation and helped a gravely wounded teenager Our officer was off duty, and I can say 4 months pregnant, if you don't mind us saying it, because it's written here. Her swift action and selfless service saved a young life and very much represents the courage of our Port Authority employees. We have our superintendent, Ed Setnar, is going to come up and make a presentation. After that, I'm going to ask the board members to come join me and our executive director as we give a proclamation to the officer who's seated in front of us. Ed?
Good afternoon, Chairman, Director, Commissioners. Thank you again honoring the heroic actions of one of our officers. This was truly a unique situation and something that, through her training and experience, was able to mitigate even further violence. So, Officer, would you step up with me, Chief Bellucci? Give you a synopsis of what happened. On October 2nd, Police Officer Chi Ying Young was involved in an off-duty incident, and we're honoring her today for those actions. Officer Young is currently assigned to LaGuardia Airport and is a graduate of our Academy's 121st class. She has served the Port Authority for 2.5 years, following 4.5 years with the NYPD. At the time of the incident, Officer Young was off-duty and medically restricted, as the Chairman alluded to, is currently pregnant. While at home, she heard cries for help coming from an outside residence, and without hesitation, she immediately responded to the distress. Upon reaching the scene, Officer Young encountered a male who had sustained multiple stab wounds in his eye and armpit. The assault was part of a tragic domestic violence incident in which a juvenile's mother had just seconds before been fatally stabbed in her apartment. Officer Young quickly administered control of the bleeding and offered medical first aid to the young man that was injured. While continuing to provide care, Officer Young contacted NYPD 911 through the 911 system to calmly relay critical information to the dispatcher about the incident. All this is going on while she knows that the fatal incident is going on inside where the homicide occurred, and she's caring for this young man while also protecting himself, herself, and the folks around her. So truly incredible what went on within those seconds. Officer Young and the victim continued to be in danger, as I said, with NYPD's arrival. Officer Young remained on the scene and continued serving the emergency medical service and most likely save this young man's life. Her actions on that day reflect extraordinary bravery and dedication to her duty, even while off duty and facing personal physical challenges. In a moment that others stood by, she chose to act, demonstrating the highest standards in service and compassion. For her courageous and selfless actions on October 2nd, Police Officer Chi Ying Young is formally being recognized with the Meritorious Service Medal within the Police Department. Her commitment to protect and serve both on and off duty exemplifies the fine traditions of the law enforcement and the Port Authority Agency. Thank you, Chairman, for this honor.
She's been with us for 2.5 years, graduated first in the class with the Kathy Mazza Award, so no surprise. You represent the very best of police officers, the very best of the Port Authority. Thank you very much. And if I can have the board members come down, we're going to present the proclamation.
That's outstanding. Yeah, foremost.
Rick, why don't you hold that? Stand here, if you don't mind. Commissioner Fine, why don't you stand here and read off the proclamation? If I can have the commissioners all line up here, please. Thanks. Come on. Chief, Ed, come on in. No, you can talk. I will take a picture, then we're going to read the proclamation.
All right, in 3, 2, one more, in 3, 2.
Commissioner Fine?
Officer Young, this is in recognition of exceptional service, in recognition of your extraordinary bravery, decisive action, and selfless service on October 2nd, 2025. While off duty and expecting your first child, you rendered critical aid to an injured 17-year-old victim during a violent incident in Flushing, Queens. The Commissioners of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey hereby express their sincere appreciation to Police Officer Young for her courage and professionalism, which stand as a powerful reminder of the strength and selflessness that define the Port Authority Police Department. Her actions exemplify what it means to protect and serve with integrity, compassion, and unwavering dedication to duty. From the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Board of Commissioners, October 23rd, 2020.
Peter. Bricks, yeah. All righty. We're first going to see a brief video on the AirTrain groundbreaking. Is that teed up?
Rick, some day we have here, huh? What a day we have today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Many years in the planning here, replacing AirTrain. For those that want to show their age a bit, the AirTrain you're looking at there was thought of in 1990, constructed for 5.5 years and went live in 1996. Well, 29 years later, it's time to replace that AirTrain. 8 years ago, you didn't have Terminal A, you didn't have Newark Access in works, you didn't have a plan to replace the AirTrain. You don't have the seeds being planted for a new Terminal B. A lot of great things are happening, impactful in Newark and Elizabeth.
Today is a very special day, obviously, in terms of coming to the groundbreaking of a brand new world-class AirTrain at Newark Liberty Airport. Today is one of a series. I would say, of promises made and promises kept. We committed to build a world-class new Terminal A here at Newark Airport. And I would say promises kept. Fair? We promised a station access project. The Newark AirTrain station on the Northeast Corridor, New Jersey Transit and Amtrak was not accessible from the South Ward community. We committed to fix that. We broke ground on that just a short time ago. Promises made. We will follow through. Promises kept. It is really a very proud moment to be here at the groundbreaking of the AirTrain, because without it, the airport couldn't operate. The old one, which you can see, and again, which the chairman recited the history of, way past its design life, way past due to be replaced, and it will be replaced. So delighted to be here. Thank you for coming.
I want to acknowledge our Port Authority family here today. 8,000 strong folks. These guys come into work, and gals, every single day working on a special mission. I guess you'd say it's like an infrastructure, but it's also like a social mission to make sure we all stay connected. So a round of applause to our Port Authority family.
In 1996, when the original AirTrain Newark opened, this airport served fewer than 30 million annual customers. And last year, we served just about 49 million customers, and with a forecast is continuing for that number to grow annually year over year. We are so excited to put shovels in the ground today and get to work to deliver this exciting advancement in airport access.
We're designing not just a transit system, but an experience. And beyond functionality, every detail enhances the passenger experience. The AirTrain will play a key role in the ongoing transformation of this airport into a hub of innovation, opportunity, and progress.
This airport connects people to families, businesses to markets, and workers to livelihoods. Beyond the steel and the concrete, this project is about people. It is about the people in this community and the people that will be serviced by these upgrades that we are making. I love groundbreakings, but I love ribbon cuttings even more.
For the women and the men who are dedicated to really transforming the space, thank you. To the chairman, to Rick Cotton, to all of the members of the Port Authority, thank you for putting New Jersey in a space where we consistently see ourselves first. Every time Terminal A comes up as the designated space for me to fly out of, I have this sense of relief because you know it's going to be smooth.
First, in order to say thank you, and thank you to the Port Authority and everyone that is here today that's responsible for this fantastic project that's going to enhance the passengers, the workers, and even small businesses.
Simple things go such a big way, and how making the changes of what this is going to look like and be like, and how convenient it is going to be for our families. It's a big difference, right? Because we all have an opportunity to be proud consistently of the things that we do and proud of our state and our cities. But it's a small opportunity that others leave this airport and say, you know what? I had a great experience today.
So the relationship between Newark and Elizabeth go back over hundreds of years. And it's because of that relationship, and especially here at the airport, that we work together not only to provide jobs, but the mission of the Port Authority, which is to move people. I look forward to the planning stages of Terminal B over the next years, as well as working with these fine commissioners to develop better and enhanced transportation for our communities. Thank you, Chairman.
Really special event. Looking forward to it. You know, the senator from Irvington, Renee Burgess, talked to Rick and I before we started the program, and she said that she was actually a worker in Terminal C from 1990 to 1996, was there, didn't want to date herself, but she said she at a very young age, she was working in Terminal C, working for concessions, and just when the AirTrain came online, really exciting. And it's exciting to see the local officials, the community really involved. This is one of the greatest pieces to the final puzzle in Newark. And I'm telling you, we are really excited for the future. Thank you all. Thank you to the aviation and for the Port Authority family. With that lead up, Rick, we go to your monthly report. Let's hear from our Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I report on performance across our lines of business from the last month or so, I want to take note of two hugely positive developments that occurred in the last 2 weeks, which is what we aim to do, get things done and get things done at a very high quality. First, take note of the groundbreaking at the Newark AirTrain. Again, as I said at the event, promise made, promise kept in terms of the groundbreaking moving forward. Second, another achievement I want to take note of relates to the new LaGuardia Airport. This happened 2 days ago on October 21st. Forbes Travel Guide announced that LaGuardia Airport had been named the best airport in the United States for the second year in a row. Receiving this prestigious award, which is based on a survey of 9,000 travel experts and frequent flyers by the Travel Guide, it is another extraordinary third-party accolade and ratification of our efforts to have our airports in New York and New Jersey represent the best the air travel industry has to offer. We have articulated our aspiration to be a world-class operator of world-class airports and to build airports worthy of the region. This recognition solidifies that aspiration, not just as a hope, but as an achievement with respect to LGA and where we intend to get to with respect to Newark Liberty and JFK. I'd also like to take a moment, as I do every month, to express gratitude to the Port Authority employees who achieve, it is they who achieve these high standards at all of our facilities. And I take note in particular of the 2/3 of our workforce who were represented employees and of the leaders of the 23 unions that represent them. We continue to be grateful for their commitment and dedication in keeping our facilities moving forward. I also want to take note, just very briefly, of the third quarter agency financial performance, which our Chief financial officer reported on. Again, it is a tribute to our employees and their dedication of generating consistently strong performance and financial results. Turning to the facility volumes for September, across our three major airports, September 2025 passenger levels were within 2% of the record levels set in September 2025, which was our strongest September ever. On October 1st, the federal government shut down, and while that had the potential to impact the performance at our airports, we were able to avoid that through strong cooperation with the federal workers who, although not receiving paychecks, have continued to do their jobs. With respect to the seaport, in September 2025, cargo volumes were 5% below September 24 volumes, but 18% above the pre-COVID September 2019 volumes. This performance reflected largely trends with respect to cargo volumes across the country. Nonetheless, the Port of New York and New Jersey in September was still the second busiest seaport in the country. At our bridges and tunnels, across our 4 bridges and 2 tunnels, traffic in September 2025 was 0.2 of a percentage point above September 2024 levels. And for the 3 months making up the third quarter, traffic was above 2024 levels for each month in the quarter. September 2025 volumes were within 1% of pre-COVID September 2019 volumes. And traffic volumes continue to fluctuate month by month, and due to the variety of factors involved that affect those volumes, it continues to be difficult to analyze the impact of any individual factor until additional data over time is collected. Finally, turning to PATH, for the month of September, PATH ridership took a big jump, hitting 79% of September 2019 levels. This is a high watermark for the PATH system in the wake of COVID. It is the first time that ridership has essentially hit 80% of pre-COVID levels. Weekday ridership in particular was strong. September 2025 was the busiest month for weekday riders since the onset of the pandemic, and it was an increase of 20% over August. Very strong performance. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Executive Director. Any questions? All right, now we're going to move ahead to the public portion of the meeting. The public comment is limited to 30 minutes in total. We ask that the folks who have specific questions follow up with our public relations staff, and we'll direct them to the right department or individual. We have 3 people who have signed up. Is that accurate, Jim? 3. Aaron Glazer first. Aaron? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I've left a map on your desk of an overlay of the Ambrose channels and other channels in the New York Harbor, along with a project. Members of the Port Authority Board, thank you for your time in public service. I'm here today to respectfully urge the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to exercise its authority to delay the construction of the Northeast Supply Enhancement Pipeline Project, referred to as NESE henceforth, due to an unresolved conflict with the Ambrose Channel deepening projects, as well as the existing maritime traffic already operating in the channel. As of today, there was no public record of the Port Authority discussing the Transcontinental Gas Pipeline Company of William Companies, Incorporated, nor the NESE pipeline project. The William Transco NESE compliance and application materials reference New Jersey waters and note the pipeline's route described with respect to the Ambrose and Chapel Hill channels. This agency does publish material that treats Ambrose Channel as a key port and navigational asset. Environmental groups that opposed or reviewed the NESE have explicitly said the submerged line would cross several navigational channels, including the Ambrose Channel, and they cite port dredging and navigational concerns in their comments. This shows the Ambrose Channel as a focus of environmental and navigational scrutiny, even if this agency hasn't posted a separate statement. This agency's mission, as you know, includes ensuring the navigational safety, protecting maritime infrastructure, and upholding environmental integrity. Right now, all 3 are at stake. William Company intends to fast-track the construction of a new pipeline through the Ambrose Channel, making it operational by 2027. This is a clear conflict between this agency's obligation to ensure safe and timely arrival and departures of shipping vessels within the harbor and could interfere with the scheduled deepening project of the Ambrose Channel. Introducing yet another high-pressured pipeline in the same corridor adds unnecessary danger, not only to your deepening investments, but to shipping operations, fisheries, and the long-term ecological balance of the New York Harbor. It is the obligation of any potential project that operates within the waters of the Port Authority's jurisdiction, whose path also crosses any of its right-of-ways by bridge, sea, or air, to notify this agency of the company's intention to operate in their waters and allot time to allow this agency to decide whether the project should continue. This agency has precedence in its favor. When safety, public trust, or operational conflicts arise, you are empowered to insist that no further construction or permitting process proceed until conflicts are evaluated and addressed. If you choose not to act, the risk of accidents, especially underground gas leaks, would prove detrimental to one of the most heavily trafficked ports on the East Coast and could expose this agency to extreme costs in the form of traffic disruptions and the inevitable ecological cleanup of the harbor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Christopher, welcome.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, the ladies are not here because they had a medical test to do today.
Tell them we said hello, both. Okay?
It's definitely because they're watching, so I know they're listening. The thing I also put on the table, and I do want to thank your colleagues, I do, as the president of the ADA Transportation Group, I've been doing forums, and I did one in Queens, which we had 350 people attended, person and virtually. We're doing one in Brooklyn. We hope that the Port Authority / the PATH trains can please attend, because we want to make sure the future accessibility rides with us. And as you mentioned, the project you guys are doing in Newark, and I did hear the word accessibility even 100 times there, and I do still clap from there, because accessibility could be anything, from a train station to a boat to sea, wherever. Accessibility is the key word. I want to thank you. But at the same time, as president of the ADA, I hope in the futures that we still make sure maintain elevators, updating our trains, because as you know, technology is growing. We want to make sure that people who can't have trouble seeing, who are deaf, who are blind, or partially blind, get the necessary tools to know where's the train, where am I supposed to stand on the train platform, where am I supposed to get off, and what direction is the elevator. Right now, MTA is doing that. It's called the Neverlands. And the Combo. The Combo is like a phone. You scan the QR code at one of the station customer service centers, and they do speak to a live person. Technology is growing, but we still want to make sure we work together. Part of my forum, as I mentioned, a sample, will have not just you guys, but MTA, TLC, DOT, and we did have Amtrak was there. And we want to make it very clear that we want to make sure people are aware how to put your comments in. This is not a violent fighting. This is a way of working together to make the future accessibility. My fellow colleague, Edith Prentice, always says, work with the people, try to keep the peace, but always try to do the best you can. So, as you know, this year was ADA 35. I do want to say thank you, because Disability Pride Month was an excellent one this year. I hope ADA 36, which is next year, will be even stronger each year we make up. And you do see those leaflets, nice and colorful. Yep. And just note, if you see any spelling errors, I didn't make the leaflet. That was the library. I just want to be safe, because normally I do have someone checking my spell checks before I do it. So
got it.
Just hope you guys can please be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our last speaker, Jack McKee. Jack, welcome.
Good afternoon, Board, Mr. Chairman. Let's see, record myself to maybe do some social media on this. So, congratulations on the air train. That's a big move. I remember that going in as a kid, and it's cool to, yeah, I'm dating myself now. It's cool to see that being updated, because it's crucial. The news on the PATH ridership, almost at pre-pandemic levels. That's great. I assume that can only mean that we're going to return to pre-pandemic headways and all those. At least that's what we're going to be working towards. There are so many things going on with the Port Authority, with PATH, with our campaign, A Better Path at Hudson County Complete Streets, that I didn't even make any notes, because all I would have done is looked at my phone and failed to deliver the message. So I want to thank you and the team that's been working with us. The track walk that they did, that was wonderful to see. It helped us understand the challenges of the system, the opportunity, and just the amazing New Jersey infrastructure history. It was neat, to put it simply. I understand a lot of the challenges. I understand Path Forward is concluding soon, but and I understand that Path gets an outsized portion of attention within the PA ecosystem, so to speak. All that said, and with all the respect in the world to you, the board, as well as the PA family of nearly 10,000, I think you said 8,000 before, our riders encounter challenges, and they are not mutually exclusive ideas. That, you know, the PA is doing everything in its power, the riders still have needs, and I feel that's the situation we're in. I know that, as I mentioned in the last board meeting in Jersey City, which we appreciated, that I'm talking with people that have no idea I'm doing a PATH campaign. You know, the anecdotes of, yeah, we're thinking about leaving Jersey City, we're thinking about moving back to Manhattan, we don't want to, but the commute is becoming too much of a problem. So while I understand the limitations as well as the physical infrastructural limitations, speaking with your team, and they went through the challenges of loading up equipment, materials, and then carting out the debris afterwards from a rail yard in Harrison into the system, and it's a very tightly orchestrated dance that has no margin of error. You have to get it right every single time. So as we continue to work with your team, Zach, Jason, Kristen, Morgan, everyone that's been working with us, I'm just going to give you the heads up. We need to start asking for more. We need to see a conclusion of Path Forward. When? What's the difference going to be? Just as speaking with someone, another anecdote, they said, I don't know if I can sign a lease in Jersey City because I need to know the conclusion of this because I can't set myself up for troubles getting to work. I appreciate all you do, and I'm going to continue coming and advocating for riders.
Great.
Thank you.
Jack, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Stay tuned in November. All right. Do we have any videos or written statements?
No, we do not.
Great. Okay. That being the conclusion of the public portion, there being no further business, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Jim.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you in 3 weeks, folks.
do not have anyone for. So I think.
Well, let's go to the.